Hey, I got a question from one of my readers, viewers today about are religious people naturally right-wing or not? And that's actually a really interesting question. It goes into a lot of issues about whether you're talking globally or locally in the United States. There's been some uh, research data on this, at least in the American example, and I'm going to put a link to a Pew Research report from 2012 on religious and political affiliations. The big picture would be, on average, it's about a 45-45 split core between Republican and Democratic in religious affiliation, but that starts varying when you look at particular demographics. If you're a white Protestant evangelical, your odds of being a Republican go way up. If you're Roman Catholic, it will be a little lower. If you are Jewish, you're very likely to be Democratic. If you are a Mormon, you are really likely to be a Republican. And that's based on the current demographics. But demographics aren't cast in concrete. You've got an increasing number of millennials who are in the undecided squishy category. It doesn't mean they're going to end up non-religious, but they may be non-affiliated. So how that's going to translate into political affiliation in the years to come, hard to say. How do other religions stack up? Roman Catholics have an extremely left-wing liberation theology segment in their population that's found more in, say, South America than it would be here in the United States. Overall, I would wager that the Catholic mix will tend to be a bit more conservative than liberal, but depends on the country mix. Islam has not exactly a gigantic tradition of liberal politics under its belt. And in an awful lot of countries that are heavily Islamic, they tend to be very politically conservative, favoring either monarchies or extreme Quranic law. And that's not at all inconsistent with their general history. Buddhists probably fall into the 50-50 mix, and it depends on which culture they're in. And some of this then turns into the issue about what kind of religion it is and what it means to be religious. Being spiritual isn't necessarily translating into a particular doctrinal set. And you have a certain kind of temperament that's more likely to take a sacred book that has been handed down to you as a non-negotiable set of dogmas, if you have a kind of mind that can go into that and be less likely to challenge any of its authority. So insofar as liberals tend to be a bit more boat rockers than conservatives do, there would be a natural tendency for the conservative mind to gravitate to like-minded religious configurations. How much of this is deep cognition beyond just that sort of 45-45 mix with foam on the beer variations over time? We'll have to see in terms of longer trends. But in the short form, I'd say that um, religions tend towards aspects that are politically conservative more naturally than they would liberalism. And you see that even in the current Pope, Pope Francis, who has some very liberal streaks and reformist sentiments, but boy, he ain't going to move 1 millimeter on abortion issues or even condoms. And how much religions can maneuver, what dogma that you are treating as the conservatism depends over time. Somebody who would be politically conservative today will easily be listening to rock music that would have caused the political conservatives of 40 years ago to have conniption fits. So what is the set of tropes that people play with in their game is very, very different. That's kind of a short discussion without going into a pile of material on the cognition of religions and politics. And if you want some follow-up matters on that, field me some more questions. Thank you for listening.